Dimensions are a measurable extent of some kind. 0 dimensions would be a point. 1 dimension is a line that we can label length. In 2 dimensions, we can already do a square, and we can call this dimension height. And the third and highest dimension we understand, because we live in it, we can label depth and make a cube with it. But what about the fourth, fifth, and even higher spatial dimensions? Some people consider time as a fourth dimension, but it's not really a spatial dimension. Time is a constant that is applied to all spatial dimensions. In other words, you need space and time to be able to move around in your house. The concept of higher dimensions is often used in math and programming and could explain several big phenomena that happen in the universe, like quantum tunneling and even black holes. Also, most superstring theories require 10 dimensions for them to be true. But the thing is, we don't yet understand them, and here's why. Imagine you're playing a 2D video game, and suddenly you ask yourself, why does this ball move up and down instead of moving to one side, thus avoiding all obstacles? For us, this sounds completely logical, but for the 2D ball, moving to one side is incomprehensible. It's outside of its limits. Moreover, a two-dimensional ant could have already filled up a 2D table with 2D papers. But you would tell the ant, well, why don't you just stack them on top of it? But the ant simply wouldn't understand. And when you pick a paper up and put it on top of another one, the paper disappears from the ant's line of sight, which, by the way, is literally a 1D line of sight in which it distinguishes depth, just as we do with shadows. Just like this, when you fill a 3D room with 3D boxes, a 4D being could come and pick a box up and take it to the fourth dimension, and it would disappear from our sight and we wouldn't understand. Furthermore, higher dimensions might be so small that we don't get to perceive them. A good example of this is a tightrope walker on a rope. The rope is a 1D line because he's only able to move in one direction, but really, it's a 3D rope with a 3D insect walking around it. Now, as you know, you can represent a cube in a 2D surface. Well, this is how a 4D tesseract would look represented in 3 dimensions. In conclusion, it makes sense that it doesn't make sense. Just as for the ant. There might be anywhere from 4 to 11 to 26 or even more dimensions, but at the moment our brains are limited to 3. However, who says we're not going to evolve to live in more dimensions? If we have this amazing thing called imagination, why not use it? And who knows, maybe imagination itself is just a premature version of our brains evolving to higher dimensions.